Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining the Business Plugs Mixer. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard, and they call me the Business Plug. You just tuned in to the Business Plugs Mixer. We're here Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to give you business conversations with business people for business people. And so today is no different. I am so excited about my guest. But before I get introduce him, let me tell you about two things I'm working on. The first thing is if you are wanting to get certified, reach out to me. The link is in the wherever you're watching this video. The link is there. Go ahead and make an appointment. Let's talk about how we can get your business to consistent, recurrent revenue so you can get government contracts and grants. So we can talk about that. Speaking of grants, on Saturday, the 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting a Grant Magic 101.2 where we're actually going to apply for grants in the session. So if you are curious about grants, you want to know how to get grants working for you in your business, in your church, in your community group, as an individual. If you want to know more about grants and grant funding, that link is also in wherever you're watching this video because my goal is to help you to get to the grant money. So all that being said and done, my staff would be great. That my team would be happy that I've done what I'm supposed to do. Now we can get to the fun part of this interview. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Chef Henry Baker. Hey there, Chef Healthy.
Hey there, how are you? Good to see you.
Well, good to see you as well. So tell my audience, who is Chef Healthy?
So Chef Healthy Henry is basically I create recipes for people that want to have healthy lifestyles, create healthy recipes for them. I teach them the fundamentals of cooking, but before that, we talk about how to get people interested in getting into the kitchen, making their kitchen more comfortable, more and more peaceful for them, so they can go in there and be happy to be in their kitchens, not just have to go in there, but actually be happy to go in there. Once we get them in there and they're happy and they're safe and they feel safe, then the cooking process can start. And so that's the foundation of what I do. And it's one of those things where I just really enjoy not cooking for people, but teaching people the skill of cooking, because I feel like it's important, and especially if they can cook with their families, teach their kids how to cook so they can cook as a family.
Yeah, I love that. So family, that's a great time for family bonding, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you get to be Chef Healthy?
So let's in the beginning. So I went to 20 years ago. I went to culinary school, and so I've been cooking basically for all my life. But at the same time, about almost 4 years ago, I had weight loss surgery and I lost 140 pounds. And so I had to start eating healthier. I had to change my lifestyle. And so what I started doing is creating these healthier recipes, and then deciding that this could be a business that I can share with other people, because I've talked to other people that are trying to lose weight, that are trying to get their lives better. And they say, I would love to learn how to cook. I'd love to have these recipes available. I just don't know how to do it, because you can type in a chicken recipe on the internet and it's so overwhelming of all these different recipes. But if you have someone that's going to teach you how to cook the recipes, going to teach you the skills, and that you're comfortable with, it's so much easier. There's that trust between you and the client, that that they know that what you're putting in front of them is going to help them in their lifestyle.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so who are the people that should be contacting you? Your ideal clients?
Typically, it's going to be like busy people that want to eat healthy, people that work out, people that have families that they want to streamline their cooking process so they have more time for their families. They want to go back to the basics of actually learning the cooking skills, so then they can spend that time with their families. Because what I can do is I can take a 45-minute recipe and bring it down to 30 minutes just by streamlining the processes. And then if they bring their kids in the kitchen, that's more time for them there. And also, once the meal's done and they sit down at the table as a family, the kids are more invested in the meal. So I'm giving them time back to their kids as a reward. So that's nice. And then anyone that really wants to be adventurous, like adventurous cooking. Like I'm not going to give you chicken recipe all the time. Sometimes it's going to be chicken, sometimes it's going to be different types of fish, beans, whatever. But I'm going to also incorporate things like cactus and jicama and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then I'll educate you. Why are you eating this? What's so nutritious about it? And how do you? What's the best way to take advantage of it so you can digest it better for your system?
I love that. I love that because people are looking for alternatives to meats.
Yeah.
And learning about the different foods. Like, I mean, and we have vegetables, you know, we eat the cucumbers, the lettuce, the spinach, and all those things that
Yeah.
we know about, right?
Right.
But what you're teaching is all those things we don't know about. I heard you mention cactus.
Yeah. Cactus is so good for you. So it basically is a superfood that nobody knows about. And I know about it because like I'm, being from a Hispanic background, like my family's always, cooked with it.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I just started adding that, getting that nutritional values, out to people and talking to them about how great it is. It's so good for you, and it doesn't taste bad. It's if you prepare it right, it tastes great. It takes on the flavor of everything else that you're cooking with. But most of the time, you put it in like stews. Sometimes you can put them in tacos, and it's different things you can do with them. But it's the adventurous part that I'm highlighting here because it's one of those things that nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks about let's throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that in there, and they actually work. So it's nice.
Yeah, and it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because yes, I was going to ask you because you just explained about what does it taste like, and you said it just takes on the food. It takes on the flavor of the food it's in.
Yeah, it pretty much does. I mean, it does have its own flavor. It's almost like an asparagus, but not as sharp as an asparagus.
Mm.
But then again, you're gonna put if you put it in stews, especially like Hispanic stews, they put a lot of that in there. Or if you put it on a taco with some beans and some cheese and some like Mexican cheese, whatever, it's really good. Yeah, and I've got
Oh,
some
okay.
recipes on my website with cactus in there too, so you can go to my website and
Absolutely. So I did put your website wherever they're watching this, but where should they go look?
So my website, everything that I do is Chef Healthy Henry. So it's chefhealthyhenry.com. On social media, I'm Chef Healthy Henry. You can find me. Most of my social media is food videos, food reels that I put out there, so people can get interested. They have the recipes on there, but I also have the recipes on my website too. If they want to go there. And then on my website, there is a spot they can subscribe to my newsletter, so they can get more information about different things, and they can contact me because I think to me that's the most integral part of this whole thing is that people feel like they can contact me because I do have people coming to me and say, can you do some more breakfast stuff? Can you do some meatless stuff? Can you do a burger? And so then I'm like, okay, I can do that. Like I had one lady in a Facebook group ask me if I could do like a Hungarian chicken, which I would never
Mm.
have done before. But then I'm like, yeah, let me do it. So I did it. I made it more healthy and I put it out there and she just loved it. And so to me, again, that's the integral part of what I do is the interaction with people. So find me everywhere I am for sure.
I love it. I love it. And so somebody who has an unhealthy yen for food, right? They love food and they like a lot of, sauces and creams and
Hmm.
all the things to it. So they can contact you
Oh yeah.
and you can help them to make that favorite food that they like that can't live without. You can make it healthier.
Yeah, so that's one of my biggest things is that I do transform recipes from what my mom's mac and cheese or my mom's blueberry pie, whatever. Let me bring it, send it to me, and let me add it. I'll change it, make it more healthy, bring in the better ingredients, and give it back to you, and you'll see that it's tastes the same, but it's got so much more better. It's so much better for you. It's got probably less sugar. It's probably got less calories, and it's still nice. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And so when we were talking before, you talked about the importance of getting young people involved.
Yeah.
So
So
that train up a child, right?
yeah, for sure. So my daughter is now 22. She's up in LA. I'm in San Diego. She's up in LA, but she's an awesome cook because when she was little, very little, like when she was 2 or 3 years old, I started teaching her how to cook. And it wasn't like, oh my God, she has to learn how to cook. It was like, okay, we're doing this as a family. This because kids mimic everything you do. If
Yeah.
you're in the kitchen all the time, they want to be in the kitchen with you. And if you're doing, if you know how to, if you have this skill, they're going to probably develops a part of that skill too, because they like to mimic what you do. So when I'm in the kitchen, my wife's in the kitchen, she's always there. And so she like, we started cooking healthy and she started cooking healthy and now she's a great cook. So that's one of the things that's another cornerstone of what I do is just like, let's get those kids going, because it's super important for them to learn when they're young, because as they grow older, it's going to be harder to get them in the kitchen. If they're teenagers, it's going to be harder to get them in the kitchen than when they're like 4 years old, 4 or 5 years
Absolutely.
old. It's easier then, but getting them going early and teaching them the values of healthy eating, the values of healthy shopping, and the values of just like creating a meal that is going to be a benefit to their body, not a detriment.
I love it. I love it. And right now it's important, right? Knowing so do you do seasonal recipes?
Yeah, so most of my stuff is seasonal. So right now we're going from summer to we're starting getting into the fall. So now I'm going to start doing more soups and stews, which is one of my favorite things because I love soups and stews. They're so inviting and they're so comfort, but at the same time I make them healthy, so they're nice. So
Mm,
um, for fall and winter, I do a lot of soups, stews, and things like that. And then when spring comes around, we do a lot more salads. We do more, rice,
mm.
legumes and stuff like that. And then we do like more barbecue kind of stuff for spring and summer. So we do a lot of like that. And then like, especially like, so I'm in San Diego, so I get farmers market all the time. But most
Mm.
people in the world, they don't have farmers market in the winter time. But when spring and summer comes, whatever is at the farmers market, I go there, I get it, I bring it home. And then that's what I'm making for, the spring and summer. Which brings me to another point when people say like, well, my kid doesn't want to get in the kitchen. They don't want to learn how to cook, whatever. The best way for you to start with the kids is a big tip for everybody. Go to the farmers market, take your kids. It's an outing. They love outings. Teach them how to pick out the tomatoes and pick out the cucumbers. And then when they get home and you start actually cooking together, they can see that cucumber went from the farmers market to their kitchen to their table, and now they can eat it and they can see the whole process basically of how that whole thing worked out. And so it's more fun because it's like I said, it's an outing. It's not like going to the grocery store and like, oh my God, aisle three. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's more of the, let's go out and have fun. And most of
I
the time,
love
farmers
it.
markets, they have music and they have, things going on for the kids too.
Absolutely. I love that because we can't start too young in teaching kids how to eat well,
Yeah.
right? And so it's gonna make it a better for them. I love. Do you ever plant? Do you do any gardening at all?
Yeah. So so last year I started with, with, my tomato plants, which went really well. And then this year we built up a new box. And so we added more vegetables in our own garden, of stuff that we personally like. So I can add those to my repertoire of my recipes. But yeah, we definitely have to do the natural the natural growing for sure.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And so for somebody who is just starting to cook, right? Where would you suggest they start?
I think that what the biggest part is starting to get comfortable in the kitchen. Like if you have comforts, bring those into the kitchen. If you like flowers, you like music, you like candles, you like some kind of scented whatever. Bring that in the kitchen so you feel comfortable in the kitchen. You're happy to be there, and then we could start cooking. Then they can contact me, and we could talk about over doing like over Zoom or whatever, like doing cooking classes. And it's about the knife seal. It's about the organizing the kitchen. Everything's got
Mm,
to be in its place before you start cooking. So then when the cooking starts, that's where the difference between a 45-minute recipe and a 30-minute recipe starts, is the organization, the education, and then also the whole process of like what goes where, like what ingredients can be put together in a bowl. So
mm.
when you actually start cooking, you're like, okay, well, these can go together, so it's easier, it's more streamlined.
I love that because most people just dump everything in there at once. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
and
and,
so
and
and
there's a
so
lot.
there's a method to that, huh?
Yeah, there is. And even in a one pot meal, if you have like a one pot meal, and you're like, oh, just throw everything in, they do have to go in a sequence. So, well, to get the best aromas, the best flavors out of, and the best way for them to mix together, they do have to go in a sequence. And so that's one of the things that I learned when I was in school, and that's what I teach everybody. Yeah.
I love that. I love knowing that because most people don't know that,
Yeah.
right? No, I was watching somebody store food the other day, and they talk about the method of how you put your food in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a whole method to that. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But I learned something, right?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, the fridge and the freezer, like there's a method of how you put everything in, and you can label everything. So when you come back to it, you know exactly what it is and when it was put in there and everything else. It's like all part of the organization. Yeah.
and so you help with food prep.
Um, I help with food prep as far as I can teach people how to food prep for the best for them and their families.
Hmm.
If they say, okay, I don't have, I can't cook every day. I can cook 2 days out of the week. Well, let's take those 2 days and make that a cooking day and prep everything and put them into little, little sizes of, packages. So they're just easy to pull out, throw them in a microwave or pull them out, put them in a pan. Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I love that because when people are big, everybody's big. Like none of us have enough time,
Oh yeah.
and we people go out to eat. When working with you, it can be healthier for them cooking
Yeah.
right at home and getting us back to cooking.
Yeah, exactly. Like going out to eat is super expensive these days. We know that, we all know that. It's not the healthiest because all that in order for a restaurant to make it so good and so delicious, they have to put those extra sugars and carbs in there. And
Yeah.
so cooking with me is going to be, in the long run, it's going to be healthier. It's going to be cheaper. It's going to be more educational, and it's going to be more fun for everybody. Yeah.
That's very important points. Very
Yeah.
important points. And so when somebody's looking at this video, what takeaways would you like them to take away?
The takeaway I have here is that we all get busy, okay? And so, but we still need to eat healthy and watch at the same time, watch our budgets, right? So being in the kitchen shouldn't be that intimidating. So what we need to do is we need to take that, get them to not be so overwhelmed. And because I mean, healthy cooking doesn't have to be overwhelming or time consuming or expensive. It just has to, you just go in there and just get started. And that's one of the things that I start through the education, the organization, and being comfortable in the atmosphere. You can create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle that is fun for you and your family.
Mm. Yeah. Again, how long have you been doing this?
I went to culinary school 20 years ago. I've been cooking. My business is probably about 2 years old now. But just the whole venture of starting the healthy cooking like almost 4 years ago, after I lost 140 pounds,
Mhm.
is you change your lifestyle, you change everything about stuff. And then I think that's the biggest thing is that when you start, it's always like everything. When you start, it's just like, okay, I don't have no idea what I'm doing, but I need to start the right way to lay that foundation. And so that's what I started doing, laying the foundation for myself. Because even as a chef for 20 years, I still needed to create my rules for myself, create my controls, and create my boundaries so I know where I'm going. So this isn't going to last for 2 years; it's going to last a lifetime.
Yeah, yeah. And so a lot of us have sat at the feet of Nana and
Yeah,
all the other people and they've taught us some rules and they taught us in my culture a lot of the things that we ate were not healthy.
yeah,
And so yeah, so love you, Nana.
yeah,
But we have to be deprogrammed. So
yeah.
do you find that a lot of people come with a lot of the education from the nanas and historically cooking
Yeah.
ideas that you have to soften up some for
Yeah, I
this?
do. I feel like we sit down, like the very first thing we do, we sit down, we talk about like the kitchens and about their habits and about their history and about everything else and say, okay, this is, I know these are comfort foods for you. And some of the stuff we can keep and make it more healthy. So you can still have that. Because like for me, again, being Hispanic, like, I used to see my grandma cook all the time. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't the best, but I saw the techniques, but at the same time, I felt like it's one of those things where you see what she's done, and then you put together your education, your experience, and you change it to develop to something better. And so that's
Yeah,
what I help people do.
absolutely, absolutely. So it may not be your grandmother's soup,
Yeah,
but it'll be good enough. It'll be good
yeah,
nough.
it'll
It'll be
be-
upgraded and more healthier for you.
Yeah, and we're gonna add some adventurous stuff. Like in that soup, we're gonna maybe we'll put in some black beans, or we'll put in some cactus, or some whatever else that's gonna be something you're gonna say. I never thought this would. I mean, I get that a lot. I never thought this would be so good. I didn't understand what this ingredient is, and now I love it.
Ah, see, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just got introduced to smoked paprika.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing about is that a part of the big education is like spices. The spices like paprika, for example. Like I mean, there's smoked paprika, and there's different types, different ethnicities, different countries, and there are. I mean, my cupboard is full of probably like six paprikas and like six oreganos. But that's one of the things that I educate, like because you can make a Mexican dish and put Italian oregano in there, but it's not
Mm,
going to be the same as a Mexican oregano. And
right.
then so I educate people on why that is and how that is. And so I don't expect everybody to get like have six oreganos like I do, but have some variety in there for sure.
Absolutely. But it helps us to understand how to achieve those flavors
Yes,
based on the authenticity of the dish.
correct. Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where people are like, oh yeah, I can make tacos, but they're not authentic because you're not using the authentic ingredients.
Right, right. It's
And
like
so,
the Italian at Olive Garden, right? And
yeah,
we love Olive Garden, we do, but
yeah,
we know that that's not
yeah.
that's American Italian.
For sure.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that. So we can learn how to how to cook cultural dishes
Yes.
based, and they taste the way they're supposed to taste.
Yes, exactly. I mean, through my experience, my education, and my experience of like, I mean, I've been cooking all ethnicities from Asian to Mexican to Indian to whatever. I've been doing it all, cooking it all with all their authentic spices. So, throw it at me and I'll help you.
Ah, I love that. And so what do you enjoy cooking? Like which of course you tell me you're from a Hispanic background. So is that where you feel comfort?
A lot of it
Where are you
is
most comfortable?
okay. So my family, my wife and daughter are pescatarians, so we do a lot of fish and like vegetables. So there's that. But the one thing that they always ask me to do is the tortilla soup that I
Oh
make
yeah. Oh, that's good.
is and then when I'm looking for something like a quick lunch idea, I have like a specific salad that I make with tuna, and I put tuna in it, and it's really good because just the way I make it, the process of how I make it makes it so like comforting. It's not just like crunch, crunch, crunch. It's more like a comfort food. So there's a lot
Mm.
for different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So your dishes have meanings.
Yes, they do. They have a meaning, they have a purpose, and and all that is the love that you give to your family and to give yourself into your body. Yes.
That is remarkable. That is remarkable. Like food with purpose.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so when people call you, like I hope they'll click on the links wherever they're watching
Yeah,
this.
get a hold of me.
But talk to me about the experience they get when they call you. So or how they connect or get on your schedule or whatever. What's the next step?
Okay, so so they can either call me, or they can go to my website and book me directly through my website, and they can schedule it. They can check out. They can like pay for it, check out at the same time, and then once they do that, then they put me on. They get put on a schedule. They can pick their own schedule, like depending on my availability. Then I get an email saying this person is looking for whatever, and then from there I start interacting. Either we can have a conversation about what they want to do, or we can kind of email back and forth. But I'm very easily accessible because I want to make sure that that I'm serving my purpose of helping other people. So
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
so then from there it's just okay. So tell me about your lifestyle. Tell me your food history, basically your family history, and let's figure out where you were and where you want to go and how we're going to get you there.
Absolutely. If you have people who have recipes and they want to like enter in some contest, because in the fall time there's a lot of cook-offs.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a lot of cook-offs, and in the latter part of the summer too. So can they call you and say, well, okay, look, I have this dish that
yeah.
I do, and then give you the ingredients and you teach them how to take it up a level?
Yeah, for sure. They certainly can, because I mean most of these dishes, most of these competitions are, they are regional to wherever you're at is, whatever. So you just have to find those ingredients that's regional to that to make it more authentic. Or let's say they're saying, okay, let's do a cook off, and the cook off is, let's say, tortillas. Well, then I can teach you like the Mexican flavors that's going to help put you above
Mm,
everybody else, because they're probably
mm.
regular American.
I like it. I like it. Oh, and it'll be authentic, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hola."
exactly. The
This
flavors
is
and
good.
are all authentic. Most countries, most ethnicities have specific tools and specific spices and specific techniques, and so those are the things that create the bigger umbrella of what the love of that food is. All those little things add up to that big thing.
Mm, I like it. I like it. And see, I'm not a cooker, but I love to eat. My my stove hardly ever comes on, period. But I do love to eat. I do love a good meal. So
Yeah.
yeah. So again, they can find you at chefhealthyhenry.com,
Yes.
and they can call you at the number that wherever they're watching this is in the description. They can contact you and get their cooking life together.
Yeah, for sure. And if there's somebody out there that's like, they're listening to your podcast, they're like, I'm not really into cooking, but I listen to your podcast. I love you so much. Call me anyway, because we can figure out why you don't want to cook, why you don't like cooking, and maybe we can get you started with just cutting some vegetables and some easy processes just to get going. If you're not interested, let's talk. Maybe I can help you get interested.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. So yeah, so as we wrap this up, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. I just plugged you into Chef Healthy Henry, who's going to help you get your cooking life together. I
Yeah.
love this for so many people. So if you're in that place where you're like, oh, I need to help with recipes, I need help with menus, I need help with ideas, I need help with cooking, like any of those things, he's going to be able to help you.
Yeah.
Join us here, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on the Business Plugs Mixer every Sunday. And so, to all my friends out there in the internet world, thank you for joining us, and reach out to him. You're going to want to get this help in your house. We'll see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Good to see you.